In a week destined to become legendary in General Hospital history, a single document, an unexpected, decades-old will blow open secrets buried deeper than the Cassadine tunnels. This revelation doesn't just rewrite the past for two beloved characters, Marco and Blaise. It threatens to reshape the very future of Port Charles. With suspense, heartbreak, and a betrayal that cuts to the bone, let's dive into this creative, explosive, spoiler-packed story that will leave fans reeling. For months, hints have swirled around Marco, the mysterious, guarded newcomer to Port Charles, and Blaise, the rising music star whose vulnerability made fans adore her. Both have carried the weight of unspoken questions about their lineage. Blaise, raised by her fiercely protective mother Natalia, had always accepted that her father died before she was born. Marco, meanwhile, grew up in Europe, carrying a surname that never quite matched his story. But as fate would have it, Port Charles loves nothing more than long-buried secrets demanding to see daylight. After Natalia's miraculous return from the dead, thanks to Sunny discovering Sidwell's deception, the city is already on edge. Natalia, though shaken, insists on making things right, not only for herself, but for Blaise. And unbeknownst to Blaise, Natalia holds the key to a secret she's guarded for over 2 decades. Enter the will. Natalia never thought she'd see the day, but after nearly losing her life, she decides it's time for the truth. Late at night, she visits Diane Miller, who's stunned when Natalia hands her a sealed envelope labeled, "To be opened in the presence of my daughter, Blaise, and Marco." Natalia's hands shake. "I've kept this from them for too long," she whispers. "It's time they know who their real father is." Diane, professional as always but burning with curiosity, arranges a private meeting. Blaise and Marco, still reeling from recent chaos, including Blaise's near-kidnapping orchestrated by Sidwell, have no idea what awaits them. On a humid Port Charles afternoon, the group gathers in Diane's office. Blaise arrives first, visibly anxious. Marco, wearing his signature guarded expression, stands by the window. Natalia, frail but resolute, sits with her hands clasped. Diane opens the envelope. This document, Diane begins, isn't a traditional will, but it was notarized by an attorney now deceased. It was meant to be opened only after certain truths became impossible to deny. She clears her throat and reads aloud. "To my beloved children, though you do not yet know you share this blood. Marco, Blaise, you are siblings. You are both the children of the same man. And that man is not who you were told he was. Your true father is Lorenzo Alcazar." The words hang in the air like smoke from a gunshot. Blaise's eyes widen, tears brimming. "Alcazar? But, Mom, you said he was dangerous, that he died before I was born." Marco, normally so stoic, looks pale. "This is impossible. My mother told me my father was an Italian diplomat." Natalia sobs. I lied, because I had to. Lorenzo Alcazar was many things, dangerous, yes, but he was also the man I loved. And he loved you both, in his own way." Diane quietly lays out documents, letters from Lorenzo to Natalia, old photos, and a birth certificate for Blaise bearing Alcazar's name. Never filed, hidden to protect her. As the truth settles, the siblings process what it means. Marco, who spent years feeling rootless, now understands why. "I thought my mother ran from him because he was controlling," he murmurs. "But she was running because he was a target." Natalia nods. "Your mother was right to protect you. After Lorenzo's death, his enemies would have come for you both." Blaise struggles to breathe. "All this time, I had a brother? And you didn't tell me?" Natalia's guilt threatens to drown her. "I wanted to. Every day. But every time I tried, I saw the danger it would bring. And after Lorenzo died, I was terrified someone would find you." DNA tests are arranged immediately, fueled by Marco's insistence and Blaise's desperate need to know. Within days, results come back. Marco and Blaise share the same father. Port Charles reels. Sunny, once Lorenzo's bitter rival, finds himself in a strange position, offering support to Blaise, whom he's come to care for as part of his circle. Even Carly, with her tangled history involving Alcazar, struggles to reconcile her feelings. Sonny remembers Lorenzo Alcazar as a cold strategist whose obsession with Carly nearly destroyed them all. But he also remembers moments when Lorenzo showed unexpected humanity, particularly concerning Sky and their daughter Lila Ray. Now, Sonny sees Blaze, gentle, gifted, a woman driven by her music rather than power, and Marco, who came to Port Charles not to rule, but to find peace. Sonny confides in Olivia. Maybe they got the best of him. Maybe they'll prove blood doesn't have to dictate destiny. For Marco and Blaze, the days after the revelation are raw and unsteady. Blaze feels betrayed, but also deeply curious about the brother she never knew. One night, at the Metro Court's rooftop, Blaze finds Marco staring at the stars. Blaze, do you remember him? Even a little? Marco, a voice, a hand on my shoulder, but mostly absence. They talk until dawn, finding shared pieces of a father they barely knew. Natalia, haunted by guilt, fears losing her daughter forever. But Blaze, though hurt, can't ignore the love that raised her. Blaze, you kept me safe. I can't hate you for that. But I need time. Natalia nods, tears falling silently. I'll wait as long as it takes. Diane summons them again. There's one more part, she explains. Should my children learn the truth, they should also know. Blaze, your real name is Bianca Alcazar. Marco, you were christened as Marcelo Alcazar. I leave to you, together, the Alcazar estate in Spain. Do with it as you see fit, but know it was built on choices I can't always defend. A map, keys, and deeds accompany the letter. Marco and Blaze decide to visit the Alcazar estate, more to understand than to claim power. They arrive at the old villa outside Barcelona, stone walls bearing the scars of old gunfire, but gardens still blooming. Inside, rooms are frozen in time, Lorenzo's study filled with ledgers, letters, and a photo of Natalia holding a newborn Blaze. They read letters from Lorenzo revealing he always intended to tell them the truth once it was safe, a day that never came. Broken Heart Chapter 12, A Father's Words. In Lorenzo's handwriting, to my children, I know the day may never come when I can hold you both and explain my sins and my love. But know this, I fought my entire life, so you could live free from my enemies. Forgive me if you can, and live better than I did. Blaze weeps openly. Marco, hand shaking, places the letter back. They return changed. Not as victims of a secret, but as siblings ready to forge their path. At the Savoy, Blaze performs for the first time since learning the truth. Her voice, raw with new depth, brings the room to silence. Marco, watching from the crowd, smiles, finally understanding where her fire comes from. Back home, questions remain. What does the Alcazar name mean? Will enemies resurface? What about Sky and Lila Ray, Lorenzo's other family? Marco insists they meet Sky to share what they've learned. Sky, surprised but gracious, welcomes them. Whatever Lorenzo was, he would have wanted his children to know each other. Blaze meets Lila Ray, a sweet, guarded young woman. I always wondered if there were others, Lila admits softly. I'm glad there are. Not everyone welcomes them. A shadowy figure tied to Lorenzo's past emerges in Port Charles, someone determined to claim the Alcazar fortune. A car nearly runs Marco off the road. Blaze receives threatening messages. Dante investigates, uncovering connections to old Alcazar allies, proving that some enemies never truly disappear. Sonny offers protection, but Marco resists. We won't become what he was, Marco insists. We'll face this, but on our terms. Blaze supports him, stronger now that she isn't alone. They arrange a press conference, acknowledging the truth publicly. We are Lorenzo Alcazar's children, but we choose to live in peace. Anyone who threatens that will answer to us, and the law. Blaze finds solace in her music, writing a song inspired by the father she barely knew, Shadows and Light. The lyrics speak of regret, hope, and the power of forging one's own identity. Marco, meanwhile, explores philanthropic work, using part of the Alcazar estate to fund shelters for children displaced by violence, a way to turn a legacy of blood into something redemptive. Slowly, Blaze and Natalia rebuild trust. Blaze admits, "I see why you did it, but promise me no more lies." Natalia swears it. Never again. Blaze, Marco, Natalia, and even Lila Ray share dinner at the Metro Court, a scene impossible only weeks ago. Late at night, Marco visits Lorenzo's grave in Port Charles, newly marked after years of anonymity. He speaks softly. "I won't follow your path, but I won't hate you either. Thank you for Blaze. For my sister." The will changed everything. Port Charles will never be the same now that Blaze and Marco are revealed as Alcazars. Their bond grows, unbreakable despite danger. As they move forward, the question remains, will the sins of the father haunt them? Or can love truly break the cycle? One thing is certain, this was only the first chapter in the story of Marco and Blaze Alcazar. And for Port Charles, secrets have a way of demanding the last word. This creative spoiler-filled journey explored what could happen if General Hospital dared to reveal that Blaze and Marco are siblings, and Lorenzo Alcazar's children. A revelation that ties history, danger, heartbreak, and hope, and shows once again why in Port Charles, family secrets are never truly buried.